Well, guys, obviously Thursday things were going well, coming off a big win, and it's been pretty tough since then. What has changed in the last 5, 6 days that you're sitting here where you are right now?
I really can't point to anything specific. We just got to be better at the end of the day. Just didn't have it the past two games. Letting teams score too easy. So, to finish the season, we just got to step up and take it personal. Come up big and make plays. That's all we can really do.
I just go off what he said. We just got to do better. We just got to get the job done. Right now, we're not getting the job done. Teams out playing us, playing harder than us, things like that. We just got to refocus, get ourselves together. And
How does something like that happen when you guys have played at such a high level and you've gritted out games and you've had tough games? How does something like that happen at this part of the season?
I can't just point at one thing.
There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, fast. We just gotta just stay together, come together even stronger in times like this, especially when we're down to two bad losses back to back. Well, just come back together and figure it out.
Did you guys feel like in both of the last two games, especially on Sunday, you're in a position to play for league title still at that point, and that's a little different now, and this wasn't quite that, but you still want to play well to end your regular season. Did you all feel like you came out with the proper urgency, kind of given the moment at hand and what was at stake for you guys?
No.
I agree, nah, not at all. We ain't come out aggressive like we should.
Is there anything you can attribute that to? I know you've got a compacted schedule, you're playing a lot of games, but I'm sure you don't want to just attribute it to that. Like, has practice been going the way you want it to? Just what's the prep been like for these games that you think has led to those kind of slower starts?
Yeah, a lot of these past few games have been one-day prep, so, we're coming in one day before the game, going through a lot of actions and stuff, trying to guard the other team's actions, working on our offense, obviously, how they're going to guard us. So yeah, it's a long season. There's a lot of, as you guys know, there's a lot of seasons within a season. So I think the biggest thing for us is just how are we going to respond when our back's against the wall, like it is right now.
This is a team that has gone through a lot of adversity, and it seemed like you guys have faced a lot of adversity in this game, whether it was, losing Kyle, not trying to bounce back with offense, but then, was there a point in that second half where you realized that, I guess, there was, maybe there was too much adversity to face, or what kind of happened there late? Was it, was there a point where it seemed kind of too much, or were you guys kind of, was there that point for you guys or no?
I don't think so. Every time we trying to go on a run, they were seeing some tough shots, so we got to give credit to them also. They made a lot of shots, but we just couldn't get it done tonight. It wasn't one thing we just point out that happened in the second half. We were still trying to fight to get that lead back, but just every time we try to go on a run, they respond.
Justin, since you were here last year, you'd be able to answer this question. You guys kind of went through a similar thing last year at the end of the year where things kind of fell apart. And obviously you guys were able to make a run in the Big Ten tournament, but do you see some similarities between some of the stuff that maybe fell apart at the end of the last regular season where you guys dropped some games and what's going on right now?
That's a good question. There's not really one or two or three things that you can really point to. Like I said, it's a long season. The teams we've been playing, we played them, 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. So, obviously we beat both those teams, these past two teams the last two times. So, they obviously came out with a chip on their shoulder trying to prove something. But yeah, I honestly couldn't tell you. I think we just got to be better, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Did you guys feel the absence of Kyle Young and Zed Key out there tonight, and maybe how could things have been differently if they were on the floor?
Yeah, absolutely. Them two key guys to our team. So I feel like it definitely would have helped if we would have had them, but coach always teach us next man mentality. You never know when someone gonna roll the ankle or get hurt through the game, so just everybody stay ready. Be ready when your number called.
Do you guys feel at this point in the season, given the injuries and given how the last 2 games have gone, do you feel that you have the answers within the locker room that can turn this around with so little season left?
I say absolutely. Everything's on us. Like, we control this. We just gotta do it. All come together, stay on the same page, and get it done. It ain't like it's out of our control. We just gotta control what we control, and pretty sure we'll come in at the end of the season and going into the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, kind of just to go off what he said, you just control what we can control. Just give maximum effort every day, every game, every time when you're on the floor, and let the results handle for themselves. Like I said earlier, just got to figure out how to respond when our back's against the wall, like it is right now. Obviously, a lot of big games coming up, 2 big games, this week to finish out the regular season, so we're looking forward to, getting back to work tomorrow and going and getting these 2. And get on a roll going into the Big Ten tournament and March Madness.
Justin, you mentioned having played both these teams, beaten both these teams, both one blowout, one overtime. Wisconsin, similar thing. I mean, just how tough is that, especially in kind of a condensed schedule this year, to face a team a second time, and especially some desperate teams recently?
Yeah, it's tough, man. But at the end of the day, you got to rise up to the challenge, and we just weren't able to do that these past 2 games. Like I said earlier, we just got to be better. We got to own it, take 100% ownership for it, and get back to work. Get these next 2 games.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys, give Nebraska credit. Obviously, they played well. We've got I want to give them credit first and foremost for winning. We obviously got to do some things better, and we'll work on that.
Chris, you were riding pretty high Thursday night, big win on the road, and now you take 2 losses, teams near the bottom of the Big Ten standings, and I know those teams present matchup challenges, but what is this team searching for right now that it hasn't been able to come up with in these last 2?
Yeah, I think bottom line, we have to defend way better than what we're defending right now. You know, it comes back to that. We've got to be way more connected on the defensive end, and then I thought we really pressed offensively once we got down a little bit. So we had some unique lineups in there, obviously, and we pressed too much.
What was the status with Kyle, and what happened with Seth?
Yeah, Kyle's with Seth.
Yeah, looked like he left the bench and didn't come back after the little scuffle.
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, Kyle's was out with an illness, so he continues to be evaluated in the back.
Coach, could you feel the absence of Kyle Young and Zed Key, especially in that second half, and how might that have impacted the way the game went there? Yeah,
I mean, obviously those guys are 2 really important guys for us, 2 important guys in our front line. So I don't want to minimize them being out, but at the same time, you know, we had enough to play better than what we did.
Chris, it seemed like you maybe were getting a little bit of momentum defensively at Michigan against Minnesota. You played really good games there, and then for whatever reason, just didn't seem to carry forward. Like, I guess from your perspective, what has kept this team from taking the next steps it needs to take defensively to put itself in a position it needs to be at this time of the season?
I mean, I think some of it's buy-in, some of it's a collective better effort on that end. Some of it is we're really struggling guarding the ball right now individually, and our team defense isn't covering up for that enough. You know, certainly defense and rebounding have been significant issues for us, and you know, if we don't get those cleaned up, then we'll continue to see the kind of results we've seen here these last 2 games.
I know you pay attention to trends like this. Teams that defend the way you guys are defending just don't accomplish much at this level. Like, is there a level you think this group can get to before you kind of run out of time to do so?
Yeah, there's very few teams that defend the way we defend right now, and really even advance in the NCAA tournament. So that's the reality, and those numbers. And we've talked about those numbers as a group. That's the reality, and. You know, obviously we got to get healthy. That's a big component. We got to get healthy and stay healthy. But if we don't defend and rebound, you know, we'll be terminal.
Coach, I think a lot of people were wondering why no Michi, you know, only 2 minutes for the game, no Michi early on until the very end of the first half. Just wondering the factors into that decision there.
Yeah, no, we just decided to go with Jimmy in a little bit more of a rotation as the backup point guard.
Chris, you talked about wanting these games for your guys, but now that they're here, you're in the middle of this tough stretch. Is this the right thing to do for guys? I mean, guys are getting hurt. Guys are, you know, is this right for guys in college to play this many games in this period?
Yeah, it's a fair question, but I wouldn't put it on. It's a fair question. I think it is, but I wouldn't necessarily put it on the compressed schedule. Why guys got hurt? You know, I think we just had obviously some unique situations with those guys. You know, with Zed's ankle and with Kyle. So, you know, it's a fair question, but I wouldn't want to put it on that right now.
Given some of the stuff Kyle's developed over the last 2 years, Zed's kind of allowed him to do some of that. But then also what he gives you defensively. Where was he missed more tonight?
Zed or Kyle?
Kyle.
I just think his energy. I think he connects us on both ends. You know, we've seen it when he's been absent. I think we've all noticed his absence. He gets a ton of loose balls, but more than that, he makes the right play. He doesn't pull shots away from guys. He allows our better players to thrive offensively because he shares the ball at a really high level. So he connects us on the offensive end, and he's a willing defender. And he provides some leadership. He's quiet, but he provides leadership, and and we needed that tonight. And I feel really bad for the kid. I feel really bad for our older guys because he's been such a big part of our collective leadership. So hopefully he'll get back here sooner rather than later.
And obviously, Zed was already missing, and then Kyle plays 8 minutes, and now you're kind of scrambling to figure out. I mean, Joey played. You had Harrison out there at one point.
Yeah.
One, are you kind of confident that you'll get both of those guys back between now and next week when the tournament starts? And if not, how does that drastically change how you approach things from a rotation standpoint?
I think on Thursday, I think I'm still waiting to see what the status will be for both those guys on Thursday. And Zed's been doing a lot of rehab. So, listen, I think as I've said before, this is the worst season of injuries I've ever had, and I thought last year was bad, and this has been now worse with some of our season-ending injuries. But again, we have to correct what we can correct, and the bottom line is we're not connected enough on either end right now, and we did not play together enough on either end. We just did not, and that's my fault.
Hey, Coach, we heard from Jamari and Justin. They're obviously upset after a game like this, back-to-back losses like this. Mentally, are you concerned about your team's confidence as you guys are getting ready for the biggest games of the year here?
I think we'll see. I mean, I think confidence is a pretty tenuous thing, and it wasn't too long ago where we performed well here. We're obviously really struggling right now. That's no secret. We'll see if this group has the ability to find a way to gain a little trust in each other and confidence. I think we've got a really good group. We've got really good guys. I think we're searching a little bit, and I think we're pressing too much right now, certainly on the offensive end.
Chris, you talk about defense and rebounding, and a lot of that is, energy and effort. It seemed like early against Maryland and then at times tonight, the energy level was a little low. When you look forward and kind of spin this ahead to these next two games, you guys have played such a compacted schedule. How do you make sure that the energy level stays where it needs to be to try to fix those defensive and rebounding issues when you know how much these guys have put on their legs in the last few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, play your hardest playing guys and your guys that are your most connected, your most connected group. I think that's what we're trying to do right now, and play your hardest playing guys. So that's what we're looking for.
And then you're a big day-to-day guy. You don't like to look at a lot of big picture in the moment. In a vacuum, these are just two losses. Obviously, they're back-to-back. But how do you try to, again, spin this forward and just think of it as, you're not going to miss the NCAA tournament. You still have a chance to play in the Big Ten tournament and make some noise over in Indianapolis. Like, how do you spin that and make sure that those guys know that message?
I think it goes back to to Bill's question. I think the greater issue is our lack of ability to stop people right now, and our lack of just connection on the defensive and offensive end. So, and again, that's my fault. So we don't have that right now. We do not have that right now. And it's not like we've got an unbelievably, across the board defensive group, but we can play way more connected than what we are on both ends. And that's the biggest thing in front of me right now. It's not, it's not looking towards this game or that game or the Big Ten tournament or the NCAA tournament. The facts are the facts, and the facts are we're not guarding people right now. And it's bled into our offense, and we didn't play together offensively. We pressed too much offensively tonight. So until we fix those things, we're going to have some of the same results. And that's the only thing in front of us right now. The schedule will come. These are disappointing losses. Put them on me. I'm sure that'll be the case anyway. So bottom line is I think we have to find a way to be better in those areas.
Well, when you are pointing to these things, but you don't have the practice time you might normally have, I mean, is it something you've just got to get through and have a few days before the Big Ten tournament, or how do you approach fixing?
I mean, we've not practiced much. We did not practice yesterday. We did a walkthrough, and you know, I think you are evaluating, you know, were all those the right decisions. We did the same thing before Indiana, but we've certainly had some habits slip. We've had some serious slippage in some of our defensive habits. Could that be a lack of practice time? Likely, but I'm not sure if practicing is the right plan right now given our schedule.
When it's this time of the season and you're asking some of those questions and wondering how you fix some of these issues, I know seasons present new challenges as they go on, but what kind of confidence do you have that these are issues that can be fixed at this point of the season when, like, defense has kind of been an issue all year and rebounding's kind of been an issue all year? What gives you the confidence that you have the guys that you can figure it out at this point?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. You know, we'll see. I've got a great group. I believe in our group. I believe in our team. I believe in our ability to improve and get better and respond to difficult moments. But we've got to demonstrate that we can